It's all posted. We are good to go.
Okay,
Do you want to start
cool.
us off?
Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Three, two, one, clap. There's my cut. Hello, welcome to the Parasocialist podcast where we talk about Twitch and live streaming and you know all sorts of things related to um online culture and things like that. Mostly focused on Twitch. This is a really pointless rambling, but that's basically what we're doing today. We're talking about what is Twitch meta and what are stream snipers and like how those things sort of coincide and and what are the positives and negatives of both of those things. And obviously we will explain what those are as we get into them. Yeah, so let's start right away. Um, so what is Twitch meta in your mind, Nigel?
Uh,
Or
oh,
whoever wants to go. It doesn't really. I just called people's names out.
No, Nigel, go.
no. In my mind, it's just like the thing that like a lot of like the popular streamers are doing, or that like spreads like wildfire on Twitch for the streamers for content or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh.
Yeah,
What
I
it?
feel like it's like a trend to me. Like
Yeah.
it's for me, a Twitch meta is like, a few people start doing something and then like more people latch onto it as it gets more popularity and it kind of spreads throughout until everyone's doing it. And I think that like it's like there's like a it's I mean, I'm a new Twitch viewer, but it feels like it really like Twitch metas got really intense once Among Us started. Because then like you went from Among Us to Fall Guys to Rust to
Uh,
GTA RP, and like those were like like very distinct eras of metas where like it was these very like there are metas of like, and we're gonna talk about them later, of things that are just solely you, of like say like ASMR, you're not interacting with another streamer, but like at least for me, like the really big metas recently have been like very multi-streamer oriented, like those games that you can play together.
I
hmm,
think it's interesting your take about um,
the
meta as being recent because I,
yeah,
I I can't name anything specific off the top of my head, but as far as I know, Twitch has always sort of revolved around what's popular at the time, especially because one of the best ways to grow as a Twitch streamer, as far as I know, is to ride the wave of popularity.
yep.
And we did see that with Among Us and GTA RP are two very good examples of that, where people rode the wave of success. We saw people like Saikuno come with Among Us, and Valkyrae I think blew up in that time. All those people.
No, yeah, I agree. I think especially with like older like some of like the older metas, it was also just like the same on like YouTube in a way, with like people like just playing the like popular thing, like with them like Amnesia, when that Amnesia the Dark Descent, when like everyone was like playing that. I consider that like a part of like a meta in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, but for me, like it's different because like for me, I wasn't really part of like Twitch culture watcher. I was watching like whenever I played Destiny, I would watch Destiny streamers, or whenever I played
Mm,
2K a bunch, I would watch 2K streamers. So I wasn't really like following metas until recently around like like the Among Us era.
I think
gotcha.
I do agree though with your point that Among Us made it almost more intense.
Yeah,
Um, because maybe we that's because of
it's the growth in general.
the growth of Twitch over the last year is a really important point. Yeah, because of COVID,
Yeah.
really pushed Twitch over the edge in terms of popularity because people were not leaving their house and they were looking for uh, better entertainment than television.
Yep. And
um,
streamers had nothing else to do.
yeah, like we talked about last time.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I feel like online TV, what they call it, OTV, what they
It was
call it,
offline TV.
offline
Okay.
TV. I
Yeah,
feel
you got it
like
wrong. It was
Yeah, it's the
off, not
opposite. It's
on.
yeah,
offline.
sorry. So that group of streamers who I feel like has a lot of influence very recently has been a big influencer in a lot of the metas. So like they are the progenitors of the Among Us meta, but at the same time did Rust and even though they didn't really start GTRPs. Really, I feel like a lot of them had a big influence on the viewership of that too.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because like I look at for all the things that offline TV like OTV has done for the like game metas, I feel like OTK has done a lot for like say like just chatting or like LSF metas, of like those
Mm.
types of things. Where like
True.
they're the ones, all the Austin streamers are the ones that are going on LSF and they're affecting the meta that way, kinda.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like two sides of the same coin, where it's like, OTV is more, affecting the games meta and like what people are playing, and OTKs like kind of like they really do like kind of like change what people are talking about in just chatting.
Mm.
That's a really interesting thing. So just to differentiate, OTV is a group of streamers um, who I think this was started by Skara, right? He started OTV, which stands for offline TV, and they're just like a big group of big influencers on the internet who do like
Mhm.
what G-Booster said, a lot of gaming. And then OTK stands for One True King,
Yeah,
right?
one true king. Yep.
And that was started by Asmongold, who is a huge World of Warcraft streamer, and a group of his people who are also big MMO streamers.
Yeah.
Uh, but they do a lot of those guys do a lot of IRL stuff.
Yeah,
Which
and
so
they're in Austin, and they
Awesome. They're all like
yeah.
right by each other.
yeah, so it's like LA versus Austin. It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Exactly.
two
Yeah.
it's like two TikTok hype houses, but for Twitch
Yeah.
streamers instead
But
of
for Twitch
TikTok.
streaming.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
a
it's TikTok hype houses, but for like really really old people instead.
Yeah.
what do you really old? Like
Old people.
most of them are
Okay, on the
floating around their
internet,
30s.
on the
If you're
internet, if you're
over
30,
25, yeah.
if you're 30 on the internet, you're like 80 anywhere else. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Honestly.
don't tell that to my brothers; they'll feel really sad. Um, so do you think that this is a healthy like way of doing entertainment? Obviously, you can, if you are searching out any any video game or content on Twitch, you can find it. Um, but if you want to watch these big streamers, and they're big streamers for a lot of reasons, most of it is luck, but they're also entertaining. Do you think it's a good thing that they sort of group up and do these things together?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's overall like a healthy thing unless you like, get crazy with like how much you're doing it. Um I think it's like I think it's I don't know if this is not the like exact kind of healthy, but like it's also it can be kind of volatile with like your lifestyle if this is like how you're like living your life and like this is where your money's from. Like you get like a one little slip up or something can like ruin it or it's just or like who knows what could happen to like your stream and if you lose that and like you lose like your main income and everything. So
Hmm.
no, no.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I don't see anything wrong with like these metas, especially because like people like interacting with other people. I mean, it's the same way that like something like say Marvel is so popular right now. You go see a Spider-Man movie and Iron Man shows up in it, and not to like it's not a one-to-one comparison, but it's pretty similar. Like, oh, I'm watching Miskiff stream and Asmin or his friend is there or something like that. It's very enjoyable that way. The only thing that, especially with the Among Us era, that like can crop up from that, in my view, is that a lot more drama tends to happen, and
Mm,
and drama is like, it's
a
just,
big thing.
yeah, that's just like a huge thing that's been cropping up on Twitch, and I know that like live stream fail like really really like latches onto it and kind of
Mm,
feeds it. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean
I
that's
mean,
that's the only thing.
I hate participating in drama, but I love watching drama.
Oh, dude, I love watching drama too. That's
Like
why I like
my
watching like 90 Day Fiance and shit.
Yeah, 90 Day
Yeah,
Fiance. My girlfriend watches The Bachelor. I don't watch it, but like when I sit down and like peek at it, that stuff is
Mm,
that's juicy television, you know?
ooh,
my
love it.
guilty television choice is Love Island. Those shows, like those types of shows, are just
Yeah.
so trashy.
It's so good.
Hmm.
So that's a good point. So this is sort of our like trash television is these Twitch
Yeah.
metas where these Twitch streamers are interacting, and which also comes along with that parasocial aspect. We feel like um we're like seeing into their lives, but at the same time we get that that juicy drama content, which
But I think
people.
that a difference with like the reality TV and Twitch though, which brings a lot of toxicity with it in the Twitch realm, is that
It's not
on
worth
reality
it.
TV, if there's like two different people that are like, beefing or whatever, you're just watching it. You can't really interact. But like say if it's like two streamers you like and they like have like a disagreement or something, well then suddenly you have hundreds of people jumping into the other chat and just throwing whatever obscenity they can because they're behind the screen. And then like
Mhm.
they go onto LSF and they clip it and then they, comment on that and they start hate threads. And it's like it's this like spiral or like a snowball effect that like goes way out of control in something like Twitch. When if you saw it on like say your television, you would just be like, oh haha, they're just having a disagreement or whatever.
Yeah, and they filmed it,
Yeah.
months ago, so it's
Yeah.
inconsequential.
Yeah.
And it's in most of the time. I was gonna say like in like on TV, it's usually scripted for the most part, and like on Twitch, it's most likely not, and like it's a little bit more real, especially since you're seeing it in real time,
Yeah.
and generally not as scripted.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
like a lot of these guys and girls, like they put all of themselves onto like their stream. Like I know we all
Mhm.
watch Hassan mainly, and like he like basically puts his whole life on stream.
Yeah.
mhm. So what to you guys makes like a good or a bad meta? So for example, gambling, which we talked about last week and we wanted to touch on this week again, we consider to be mostly bad, but that's not because it's, well, it is unentertaining. I don't enjoy watching it. I don't think very many people enjoy watching it. They just enjoy watching the streamer lose money. um, and
I
then Nigel also said that you don't like Rust like at all, right?
I wouldn't say like at all, but I was not looking forward to it coming
Which I
back.
find I find interesting because you, as far as I know, really enjoy GTA
I love
RP.
GTA. GTA was
So
fun. I love
what
that.
what distinguishes GTA RP with Rust, where they are also doing roleplay to some extent? Like, why do you?
I just for that specifically, but like I want to say like for like the general question with like what makes a good meta or a bad one is if I enjoy what the meta is, if I enjoy watching the game.
So very
That's
personal. So yeah,
yeah,
so jump on to that and then tell me why you don't
and-
like
yeah,
Rust and you do
exactly.
like RP.
I think it's just the people in Rust and like how the interactions go, it just feels a little bit more forced and like not as like natural as a RP as like GTA allows. I feel like just the way the game is set up, GTA allows a lot more like fluidity and just a more natural feeling to the character's RP than Rust. It
Do
just
you,
doesn't have that like background. It feels weird and forced. I don't really know how to explain it outside of that.
do you think that is because of the setting? Like, obviously, Grand Theft Auto takes place in a pseudo
In a
LA,
city, yeah.
and they're
I think
playing people in LA as
I
opposed
think
to
that
like
definitely.
cavemen.
Yeah, exactly. I think that plays like a big role in it. It's probably like the biggest reason why I feel that way about it. It's just it just it just takes out of the what is it the like I don't want to say realism. It just doesn't hit the same, you know.
Josh,
So
oh
I
yeah,
do want
yeah.
to chime in here because I was a huge RP fan and I wasn't really a Rust fan and I really didn't latch onto any of the other metas. And for
Hmm.
me, I have my own reasons for that. And I think with it, it's the entertainment factor. And but what I mean by that is that for like Rust or Among Us or anything, these are just like the regular people, and they're like playing around game mechanics. Like for Rust, it's like oh, I gotta gather scrap and all that. And like there are game mechanics in RP, but I think the main thing that was put forward in RP was people were doing characters and making storylines. So when you watched it, it was like you were watching like a TV show or like a really long series. And it's kind of like I kind of like thought of it like a movie to a TV series. It's a lot slower. The TV series is, and like there's less like impactful moments, but like you get more character development. And then RP is like to the TV series like even further on that, where it's like even longer, but there's even more character development and stuff like that. Where like if you looked at like the different gangs and like there are people that came in and out of the city and stuff like that, it was a very entertaining thing to do to like watch, but it took a lot of time to like truly understand what was going on.
Hmm. So
But
it
like
almost sounds
for
like
me,
you
it made it.
feel similarly to Nigel, where it's like because it's sort of not as natural, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was natural and not in a sense because it's not natural because everyone knows they're putting on a show and they know they're
Mm,
entertaining, but like that kind of adds to it because they're like trying to make it fun. They're trying to improv and stay in character.
I could see that.
Okay. I don't really vibe with either of those, so like I can't really give
Mm.
input.
I mean, you can
I
say
don't
why you
know.
like disagree.
Well, it's mostly that I just, and maybe I just didn't find Hassan Piker's like character very interesting because I enjoy maybe watching Moon play
Mm.
his very racist cop. uh just because he plays it up so much. Maybe I like the more absurdist
Hmm.
level of RP as opposed to Hassan, who's almost to some extent playing it really straight. Um, that's when I would enjoy RP more than otherwise. Although I will say it's kind of interesting because I think we're all on the same page of it, enjoying Rust less. Uh,
Mm.
and I
It's
think
funny.
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
it's funny that you say about the about like the enjoying the characters because I have the exact opposite like opinion on that. Like I don't enjoy his Hank Pecker character as much personally. I really like Donnie, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
like
those interesting.
for me, I have the opposite opinion where like I kind of like the more subdued characters.
Hmm.
Because like I mean the loud characters, the James Marco San Marco and like all these other like like but like loud and like very like initially funny characters. I felt like for me would die out pretty quickly afterwards. But like for
Hmm.
like a Donnie or a Buddha or like these other characters that like just were able to like make funny improv on like off the cuff moments, but weren't like like over the top for me made it easier to watch for longer. And I feel like that helped
Agreed.
the meta because people stayed around longer.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if Rust has like the depth to it because like the RP, the
Hmm.
devs like work tirelessly to add like mechanics and add all this stuff.
Hmm.
I don't know if Rust inherently has anything to keep people playing.
Yep.
Yeah, because on Grand Theft Auto they play on a highly modded server, right? Where
Yeah.
they're trying to make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah. It's
Whereas
like a
Yeah.
private server kind of thing.
the other thing I didn't like about Rust, when it was popular prior to not this most recent time, because it, as we said earlier, is like already died out. The other thing I didn't like about Rust is that a lot of times it felt like their interactions just devolved into yelling. Uh,
Mm.
I don't know how you feel about that, but it didn't feel like unnatural, but also like when they were happening, it was just like you are shouting a lot for no reason.
Yeah, and I think that's another advantage of modding like the GTA server because they had the whisper mechanic in GTA. And I remember watching like a did like so it was Hank character in one of the servers, the RP server. He was a judge and he did a trial. But since there was no whisper mechanic, everyone was packed in the trial place and you could just hear everyone. So if anyone wanted to whisper, so the only way to have a coherent trial was just to have all these content creators not say anything. So it led to everyone screaming because their voice was automatically as loud as it could be. But then when you have GTA, you can have these different volume settings so that only people
Mhm.
in a certain radius can hear you. So it can lead to people whispering in the
Oh, that's
back or
so
things like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get off of these two metas because those are both sort of RP based.
Mm.
And Jibuzu, you said you wanted to talk about gambling really quick.
Yeah. I mean,
Gambling has been a
so I
huge meta
watch,
recently, right?
yeah. And it's just, it's just so interesting because I watched a little bit of Trainwreck's gambling and I can tell how like addicting it can get to watch because like he's sitting there for hours at a time just cranking the slots and just like you're just like watching him and he's doing thousands at a time, thousands at a time. I didn't really have anything to say. It was more just I wanted to bring it up again and just say holy shit because it is insane to watch. And
Mm.
I already said that I didn't like it before, but you can obviously see why there would be people watching it because you're just watching someone gamble like this insane amount of money. And it's almost like a train wreck, like, okay, pun intended, but train wreck that you can't like look away from.
Maybe sometimes names just happen to be the perfect
Yeah.
descriptor of the person.
Yeah, it's almost like a misgift you can't look away from.
So yeah, I think gambling is sort of like that weird. It's pretty popular with a certain subset of streamers. who I would consider to be almost a little bit more degenerate. Uh, uh, but I at the same time, like, I hope that this is one that does not last much longer. I'm sure
Yeah, I think it's kind of came in waves. Like this has been like a issue and like a thing before with gambling. Because I remember like back, I don't remember what years. I'm just gonna assume like 2015 or so.
Yeah, you
Um,
mentioned Soda Pop, and
like
he
watching,
played.
yeah,
Yeah,
he used to do that. He used to like do gambling streams like forever, like back in the day, and like the shady gambling websites with like the real people and everything. So I feel like it. I feel like I'm not surprised that it came back. This has been like an issue before. It didn't have as much uh dislike against it. So I think it's just because of Twitch being a smaller platform then. So I don't know.
yeah. And that was 2015, by the way. I looked it up the other
Okay.
day. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So very,
nice.
very good guess.
Hey, good guy. I had a feeling
Um,
something like that.
yeah, and then okay, so and Twitch metas like come and go very regularly. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be within a few days. A lot of times, like if a new game is coming out, the meta of the day is to do a sponsored stream for that game.
Mm.
And right now, um, there's a huge conversation about MMO games, which are massively multiplayer online games, and specifically WoW falling off as the king as it has been for 16 years now.
Yeah.
Um, and Asmongold, the biggest creator for World of Warcraft,
On Twitch.
has finally moved over to Final Fantasy and created this whole wave of creators moving over, trying Final Fantasy. I started playing Final Fantasy just to for like the fifth time because I thought it was boring the past few times I've tried it. Um, and
I,
it's been interesting to watch. So Nigel said that you said that you had something specifically thoughts on it.
oh yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy for for a while. Not as long as I had been playing World of Warcraft, but I've been playing it for like a few years now since I think like Shadowbringers came out, the most recent expansion. Um, but I just think it's interesting how big of a phenomenon in a way that like Asmongold playing it has been. Like I wasn't expecting him to get to 200,000 people watching on the first day of him trying it.
Yeah, and that is a
Like
lot
it
of people.
was that's a lot of people. Like I was just not I was very much not expecting that. And it's been crazy to see that after like a few days after he dropped down to 100,000 and has had that held on to that consistently
Hmm.
for like a week or so.
Pretty much daily. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's just I just think it's crazy how this meta came about and how big it is just from this one streamer doing it. And
and
it's there's been so many new people in the game that I've been seeing around because of him. Um, I I think it's like one of those really good things where like it's blowing up because of it, like Among
yeah.
Us did.
So in this game, there's a system. It's called the Sprout system, right? So you can see who's new, because they have a little leaf over their head. And I've been reading on like Reddit or whatever because my character is a Sprout because I'm new, so I don't really have a frame of reference. But I've been reading on like Reddit and wherever that the amount of Sprouts people are seeing is like
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's insane. I've never seen this many before.
Um, and it's cool to me that people are noticing, and this game is very friendly when it in terms of like just community. Because
Mhm.
World of Warcraft I played for 16 years, or not 16 years, but a sizable amount
Just
of time,
about
over a decade.
same.
Um, and people are not that friendly in World of
No, they
Warcraft.
are not. They
Whereas
are
when
not.
you're doing something in Final Fantasy, you can ask anyone and they will answer
They will
to
be
the
glad
best
to
of their.
help you.
Yeah, it's so strange, and I think it's really cool to see.
It's very
Um,
cool.
and I'm hoping that this sort of, in terms of like Twitch meta, shifts um, not only people's how do I phrase this? Not only people's like uh, friendliness levels, or I guess, but maybe like their view of MMO players in general. Because I feel like MMO players get a bad rap, but I feel like everyone at some point in their time of video gaming has tried uh, an MMO.
Yeah. I
Josh,
mean,
have
at least
you
with
did
like
you ever play anything?
WoW.
Oh, you played WoW a little bit.
I never really played anything though. I don't know. I don't really do MMOs. And I don't really do Final Fantasy either. Um,
Yeah.
so like this whole part of the whole thing, I just don't have much input in.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's interesting. One of the aspects, and I know this isn't really related to what you guys are talking about, but just one of the aspects of the whole thing that I found interesting was the transition from someone who has done a long time done only one category on Twitch, suddenly going to another category, or like a one game streamer going into variety, and it has the chance to like really really tank their viewer numbers or just like tank the experience. But I think that Asmongold did it like in a right way.
Yeah, because there are streamers who, you know, can get 3, 4,000 viewers playing something, and then if they switch, they'll get under 1,000 easily. A
Mhm.
lot of League of Legends streamers are like that.
Hmm.
Actually, especially League of Legends streamers, because for some reason, people who watch League of Legends can't watch anything else. um,
The League
eh,
players.
yeah,
Who plays the
true.
worst?
I'm trying to get away.
I
Um,
mostly stop.
so we can kind of bounce off the conversation about Final Fantasy um, into stream snipers, because when
Oh
Asmon
yeah.
first started playing Final Fantasy, he had a serious issue with people stream sniping, which is something we kind of talked about, or um, we only loosely touched on it, but I made a little definition podcast and I talked about what stream snipers are.
Mm.
Essentially, just people seeking you out in game to cause you grief. I didn't see what happened specifically. Nigel, did you have
I
context?
did. So it was just like a bunch of people who are like basically already been playing the game when he like first got in were just like following him around like constantly and like getting in the way and like blocking things just to like show that they're on stream and everything. And like one of like the biggest things was just like when he was in like the beginning of the game, you're just like in this area where you can't interact with anyone. You have to do this intro stuff, and then you get to leave. He couldn't even get into the next area he had to get into because there were so many people waiting for him. So
Yeah,
he
I
was just
saw that
stuck there,
clip.
had to wait for people to leave or close the game or whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Do you
that's just a
and those
problem that you
people,
have.
or at least the vast majority of those people, have been banned, correct?
Yes, yeah, they have been. They a lot of the people who were like the most annoying about it did like pretty promptly get banned for like 9 days or something.
Which is
So
not something that happens that
and like
often.
WoW,
It's
especially.
impressive. It's impressive that Square Enix, which is the publisher of Final Fantasy, took such a swift action against those people.
Hmm.
Which you could argue happened only because Asmon is such a big streamer, but at the same time, it's good that they are
Showing
cracking
that they
down
do it.
on. Yeah, and I've also read, like I was saying, that um, Square Enix is pretty good about cracking down on toxic stuff in the game.
Yep, yep, 100%.
So it's
And I
cool to
think
see
that
that backed up.
it's
Go
not
ahead,
just
Josh.
for that game. I think it's just like a thing for Twitch in general. I mean, if there's gonna be a way for someone to derail a stream of a certain amount of people watching, or make it about them, or just like be a
No,
shitter, like it's gonna happen,
yeah, no, I
and it's been
agree. I
happening.
wasn't implying that.
No, no, no. I just wanted to like clarify that
Oh
because like
yeah.
I mean, even like back in like when Minecraft first started and like griefers, like that was like a whole thing. Like they even made like a word for it, and like it's just like even like early internet, there would just be things where like 4chan would all band together and they would like say like let's
Mm,
shut down this game, like let's shut down
yeah.
Habbo Hotel or something.
Oh God.
Yeah,
But even
like
like, I
there.
mean, even stream snipers in
In real life, IRL
IRL
streams.
streams, yeah, we are on the same track. Even on
Yep.
stream snipers on IRL streams will
Mm,
completely derail what is going on.
yep.
When Hassan and friends were in Austin, Texas, going around, they would they had multiple times where stream snipers would show up, and there was times where it was like kind of intimidating, where it's like you probably spent a few hours trying to seek these people out. Um, and again, they are not your friends. Like they don't really want to
Yeah.
talk to you, and you're just sort of detracting from what they're already doing. They're just trying to like buy a cowboy hat at the Western store or whatever. Um, and
And like there was like, and then we talked about it last week, but then there's swatting as well. I mean, they'll just do literally
Callers.
anything. They'll
Yeah,
do literally anything.
yeah, I was gonna say like with like callers and stuff, like when like streamers if they like go out to like a restaurant or something, they have to try and make sure they don't show it. They have to like hide the whatever the restaurant so they don't get like people to that call and like say like fucked up stuff. So that's pretty
mhm.
bad.
and and like I can't think of a situation where stream sniping is ever a positive.
Mm.
Um, like even there's the guy who like handed Hassan a Powerade or something at some protest.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that?
I do. I
Even
do remember
even
that.
that is like,
This is like kind of weird.
why? That's like the most positive example I can think of is someone like,
Mm.
Yeah, I think like the only time it could be positive is like say like you're just happen to be outside and you see a streamer and you say hi and ask for a picture. I feel like anytime you intentionally try to seek out a streamer, no matter how your intentions are, it's always going to be at least a little creepy. The fact that you
Mm.
like took the effort to like triangulate the location of somebody off of a stream.
But yeah, but
Or
I
it's
don't
not like a
know.
con either.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I
a
don't
con
know.
is okay though because like you kind of like consent to like seeing fans if you go to
No,
a
yeah,
con.
that's
Like that's
yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah,
I meant like a
that's
con, like a
yeah, yeah,
con's okay.
yeah. Like I feel like that's one of the few exceptions that it's okay. But I feel like if it's just like an IRL stream outside, I don't know if there's ever like a good instance of sniping.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big difference between sniping and just like stumbling upon them, which
Yeah.
maybe at the con you are sort of sniping them if they're live streaming actively, but if you're just stumbling upon them, it's you know they're just
Like,
you know
but if it's TwitchCon and like you're IRL streaming at the con, I feel like that's implied. Like you're like
That's
saying like,
implied that
hey,
you're
come
gonna
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
almost like being on Good Morning America or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like actively putting yourself out there and people are
But
going to
Yeah.
want to be in the
it's
background.
definitely context dependent. Like that's just the thing.
True.
Mhm.
Like if they're not like at the con or something and they're like in like hanging around the area just like doing their thing, that's a little different. Like trying to snipe them then. But
Yeah. So these ideas of like Twitch meta and stream sniping almost go hand in hand because if people see this huge wave of popularity, they're gonna want to. And some people are very willing to put themselves out there in terms of like trying to derail or just like get their name on the screen. So
mm,
they will actively
attention.
follow these Twitch metas, to try and get be the center of attention.
I think that's
Yeah.
just like it just kind of goes hand in hand of like just people kind of just want to claw for any clout that they can in the
Hmm.
easiest way possible.
Yep, that's us.
So
That's
if
why
that
we're
means
doing this
derail,
podcast.
okay, well, I mean, low key, I mean, but
My
I
whole
mean,
goal for
yeah,
this
but like,
podcast is to get a New York Times article written about me by
there
Taylor
you go.
Lawrence. That's the whole goal.
Oh boy. Love the New
Tech.
York Times.
Do we?
Yeah.
I actually,
Wait, we don't?
I actually thought about
I
getting,
don't
this
have a
is
problem.
not sequitur. I thought about getting like a New York Times like puzzle subscription or like the game subscription because they have a lot of like really cool like word games. I don't like doing crosswords, but they do like here's a bunch of letters, build words from them type things, and I like that.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
nice.
That's my
I like
meta.
crosswords. It's just for me, crosswords, and this is not related to the podcast at all, but crosswords for me are either like way too easy or just like way too hard. There's no like good middle ground.
I agree with that. Maybe it's because your brain is too big sometimes and too small others.
Yeah, my brain actually actively uh gets bigger and smaller depending on time of the day.
True. Do you guys have
Mine just
anything
stays the
else
same.
on in terms of these things you want to bring up?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah,
Nigel, how
Sam,
you
I think that's
feeling?
it. I'm feeling good.
Cool. That was a
I feel
small
great.
little bite-sized podcast. I'll take it. We'll be back again another time. This has been, as we said in the beginning, the Parasocialist podcast. I'm Michael. That's Nigel and Josh. And goodbye.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or
Bye.
wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, subscribe. Put it in your ears. Goodbye.
Bye.